once the state, is starting to let money go for equity. So that's what we're doing. So those people, who have been affected by the war on drugs, if they want to actually get into the business, you need to know how to do business. So that's what we're doing. We're helping people clear expungements. We're teaching them how to do business. And so that's what we're doing. So I wanted to come and see what you're all about, and maybe we can actually help each other and, help the people that need to know what to do and reach the right communities. So that's why I'm here.
That's awesome, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
And I want to give everybody a heads up. I meant to start recording in the beginning, but I just started recording. So I just want to make everybody aware. And it's purely for the purposes of us being able to capture the information and follow up with folks. Mitch, can you hear me? I know there was some issues earlier. Mitch? I guess we're still not getting Mitch. And I thought I saw another 408 number, 839.
Excuse me.
You okay, brother? Get you a cough drop?
Sir? I'm sorry. Yes, I'm still in recuperative mode. I'm sorry. Didn't know that was audible.
That's all right. Okay, I see 1408839. Would you like to share?
Oh, that's me. That's Tracy again.
Oh, that's you, Tracy. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's me. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so we're gonna move on. And at this point, there's some questions listed here that it may not be something that you thought about or thinking about, but I think these are some very crucial questions. Why is a cooperative enterprise important? Why now? Why us? And what will it take? And I want to go back to Greg. Greg, if you can just sort of kick off sort of what inspired you to start this process? What was the vision? Were you in the shower? And it just hit you?
So I guess before I get started, I want to introduce everyone to my coworker, Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. Hi. Nice to meet everybody. I'm one of the co-op attorneys at South.
Thank you.
Why is it important? I think just generally, anything that we see being done in our society can be done cooperatively. We're just used to the status quo, where we assume one charismatic person has to start a group, tell everyone what to do, take all of the profits, and then the cycle repeats itself. And as we're like diving deeper into a divide between the haves and the have-nots, we're seeing like homelessness on the rise. Wages haven't been keeping up with inflation for the last 40 years or so. And it's, I think it's incumbent upon us to be the change that we want to see. And if we're experiencing companies extracting from us and from the our world in a way that doesn't feel good to us, it's our responsibility to do something to change that. And before I landed at the Sustainable Economies Law Center, I was doing like a summer internship in Bayview Hunters Point Community Legal with a startup law firm that was the only like public service law firm in the area at the moment, after them having not had one for like 20 to 30 years. And I realized that a lot of the problems that people were asking help with from the attorneys were profoundly rooted in economic problems, and doing anything other than trying to solve those economic problems just felt like a Band-Aid and kicking the can down the road. So I felt that, yeah, if everyone has a stake in like the profits that come out of an enterprise, as well as the governance within an enterprise, it's less likely for that company to engage in extractive practices that aren't good for anyone in the long term. Yeah, that's really how I fell into this work, by believing strongly that we can take care of ourselves if we just give ourselves the chance.
And Greg, could you speak to what are some of the major barriers that you found get in the way of individuals and groups wanting to do this?
Charlotte, go ahead and jump in if something comes. I think that like one of the first things is lack of education. Like a lot of people don't know what cooperatives are. In law school, like cooperative corporations aren't taught at all. So a lot of attorneys don't really know what co-ops are. I think another is not having access to capital. There's a lot of folks that want to do amazing things and want to do it with the communities that they've gathered around themselves, but because it takes money to do many things, many feel like they can't do any business because they don't have the money to start. And maybe lastly, like some of the top things are just, we don't have very much practice with working together collectively on a business or any other kind of venture. So there's a learning curve that comes with a lot of cooperative development. And if there isn't someone to kind of guide people through those tough times, it's really easy to just like wash your hands of it and try and do something else. Do you want to add? No? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. And so I want to bring Wanda on to just talk about, what we're up to. And I wanted Greg to kind of like share out a little bit more because there are challenges to doing this. And I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of it is in our head. A lot of it is our conditioning. And that's where Village Connect really is looking at taking a role, especially with our culture-based transformative coaching model. And how do we begin to shift the mindset? When we did that exercise earlier, I know I personally learned a lot more about the person when they shared from the I am perspective as opposed to the title and the role. And so that's just sort of speaks to the structure of how society has us going. But I'm going to ask Wanda to come on and talk about partnership opportunities because, we do want to move in terms of developing a coalition, a network, so that we can begin to talk to each other and share, so that when groups get together and they want to do something, they will have us as resources to call on and pull from.
Well, first of all, Galen, I want to express the fact that we really need, it's imperative that we change the narrative. And when I say that, it is changing it from business as usual to more of a business as a way of sharing values, not just values, but profits, sharing of principles. It's a way of doing business that was very popular many years ago, particularly in indigenous communities. And I think that we have to go back to that because of the way what's happening today and that is the 1% making about 90% of the population. So this model, I feel, is quite an alternative to what's being featured today, particularly not just featured, but it's at the top of mind of most people when they start a business. They want to, they want to just be on their own. Well, I've had businesses. I've been a sole proprietor. I've formed LLCs, but I really like this model, and I like what Greg is doing. So I just wanted to emphasize that. And I know I'm also a health practitioner. I'm a hypnotherapist. I see people all the time as they come out of corporate America wanting to do something else. They're so stressed out. They want to form their own businesses, and they're looking for alternatives. And it's great that we can offer this model to them. Yes, we are looking for partners for the series. We have a series of live events and also online mastermind sessions. And as far as partnership, we are looking for sponsors that are financial participants, whether it's a presenting sponsor, co-presenting sponsor, associate sponsor, and they all come with sponsor benefits, a community sponsor, and you can become an affiliate or a member. And we do have packages available for each one of those categories. Also, we have co-hosts that we are currently working with. Some of the co-hosts that we're currently working with are the Berkeley Flea Market, 1 Degree of Separation, which is Lisa Rowley, the San Leandro African American Business Council, the California Black Expo, and the Oakland Black Chamber of Commerce. And there's several other groups and organizations that are more representative of the Cooperative Business Council. So as we move on with this project and with this series, we're going to be bringing on all kinds of experts on this call so people can get more information and really get more detailed information, because the workshops are fabulous. So I hope that you get a chance to actually come to the live workshop. But if you don't, and you're not located in this area, there's always the opportunity to come on this call and learn more. That is the goal, is to educate people so that they can thrive in the environment of being co-ops. So please tell as many people as you can. Word of mouth is the best way to communicate sometimes, especially with these types of projects, because we know for sure, especially at Village Connect, we know for sure that you have to be able to shift consciousness in a way that you can move in the direction of a shared economy. And not only that, but just moving people forward where there's not profit over people, but profit equals people. There's equity. So again, you can contact me at Village Connect or Galen or Gary Blodger, who was just on the line, about any sponsorship that you'd like to participate in, or if you know any entities that would like to host or sponsor. We look forward to that. And of course, we can customize anything depending on your budget.
Thank you, Wanda. So right now I want to open up the mics, and if you have any questions that you'd like to pose to Greg or Wanda or myself, please feel free.
Hello.
Hello, please say your name.
It's Tracy. It's Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
How are you all?
Blessed.
Good, good. So I guess this is more directed at Greg.
Okay, go for it.
How are you? So, Greg, I didn't. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
So, what I didn't, since I kept coming in and out of video, you guys probably thought I was crazy. Where are you located?
I'm located in Oakland right now. I'm at the Sustainable Economies Law Center's office, which is on 14th and Franklin in downtown Oakland.
And what do you do exactly?
What do I do? Oh man.
Well,
I just became an attorney about a month or so ago. And in addition to like making my way into more legal advice, I've also been helping out like 2 organizations, Repaired Nations and EB-PREC, with strategic planning and outreach and education.
Okay. Because I mean, I really be interested in talking to you. Sorry, you too. I do want to talk, Wanda. I do want to talk to you still. But Greg, what we're doing right now really has a lot to do with you. So I'd really be interested in talking to you offline because, I mean, as a legal and educational firm, because, I mean, that's what we do. And my partner is a small business lawyer, but, you know, she deals with, you know, with all the, you know, the big stuff. And so definitely would like to talk to you offline.
Okay.
So
I just put in the group chat my email address and phone number.
Perfect. So yeah, and there's a lot of things that we're trying to put together. You know, things that we're going to be traveling around a lot and doing legal workshops and things like that. So it really is the cooperative thing. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
It's going to be good.
Talking about it. Thanks.
We do. We're looking forward to talking to all of you actually again. So, but I just really wanted to find out Greg's information real quick. So,
all right.
Okay.
You got it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Was my mic working?
Is that you, Mitch?
Yes.
Oh, we got Mitch.
I finally got a mic working. That's amazing.
Okay. All right, Mitch.
Yeah. So I live in Texas. I guess all you guys are from California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yes.
I'm a little further out, Mitch. I'm a couple planets away.
Okay. Well, I live in a small town of about 17,000, and we do not have a bookstore. So we're in the process of trying to start a co-op bookstore, which currently we have nothing. Everybody buys from Amazon. So, you know, we're losing all that profit community wise. So, and I've got, I don't know, I guess 23 people involved. I'm just curious, how do you raise funds to get this started?
Good question.
Yes.
Greg?
We want to do a co-op.
Okay. All right. So Charlotte and I are going to try and tag team this for you, Mitch.
Yeah. Well, they're standard. I mean, co-ops are just like any other business. So they're loans, obviously. But what we've been doing also here at the Law Center in Oakland is using community capital. And so grassroots fundraising. We found a securities law exemption, which is just a fancy way of saying we found an exemption in the laws that allows co-ops to raise money from community members up to $1,000 without having to deal with onerous legal paperwork. And do you want to speak to how EB-PREC has done that?
Oh, we lost Mitch.
Oh no.
Looks like we lost Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost Mitch.
Well, this is recorded, so I guess we can send them the recording. So yeah, here in California specifically, there's a California Corporations Code that allows for us to receive $1,000 investments from people within California without having to do securities registration with the Department of Business Oversight here in California, or the Securities Exchange Commission, which is the federal securities oversight place. In Texas, it will likely be different, but there are likely some securities exemptions that will still apply in Texas. For example, like the friends and family exemption, which allows for receiving investments from 35 close people who want to invest in the enterprise is one way to gather investments. A lot of foundations are also beginning to want to fund cooperative development and use foundation dollars to incentivize direct ownership within the community. So we're seeing a lot of that happening here in the Bay Area, and hopefully it's something that's like creeping nationwide. Charlotte mentioned the like federal government, like the SBA, the Small Business Association, who historically hasn't had a good track record with funding cooperatives, but now thanks to a law that was passed this year, all SBAs throughout the country are starting to get more familiar with cooperatives and have a mandate to try and help them out more, either through technical assistance or through grants. I'm sorry, through loans and grants. Depending on where Mitch's town is, there's a few requirements needed for the USDA, which also does a lot of cooperative development financing and funding. So there's quite a few different programs to look into, but probably the best place to start is trying to get donations and seeking like close friends and family to invest in the startup co-op.
And I think we set all of that with the assumption that obviously the co-op members themselves, that's a big part of the capitalization, is that sounds like there are 20 plus persons. So that's, you know, if each person puts in around $1,000, that's $20,000. So all that to say that common component of co-ops is the capital contribution from the membership. So just to summarize, grants from foundations, we're starting to see more of that, friends and families, and there's an exemption for that type of fundraising from securities laws at the federal level and most likely at the state level. And then the loan piece, so traditionally it's been harder for co-ops to get loans, but you can go to co-op minded, and I hesitate to use the word investment, but more co-op minded funding institutions. So one that comes to mind is Shared Capital Cooperative. They make loans of starting at $5,000 to co-ops, and their whole portfolio is majority co-ops. And so just looking for institutions like that are focused on funding co-ops. Equal Exchange, I believe, has some funding for co-ops. They're a co-op themselves, but then they fund other co-ops as well. So that was the third category, loans. And then the fourth one is what I mentioned, which is just members' own capital contributions. And I can share a document that we've pulled together in the chat document. I'll send it to Greg, who will upload it in the chat.
So Mitch, are you back?
I'm back. I had to get another PC. I gave up on the other one.
Okay, so we're recording.
Okay.
So if you go to the chat on the doohickey here, you'll see Greg's contact information. And if you can drop your email, we'll make sure that we get the video to you.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I'll do that.
You know, and then I'll invite you to come back to our.
Oh, I will. Yeah, because we're trying to get this started. In fact, we've got another meeting on Sunday, and we're going to try and move forward. Like I said, we've got quite a few people involved. I was just curious. What's the normal buy-in for a co-op? We're looking for a bookstore somewhere. We're going to probably need anywhere from 60 to 100,000 to get this going. I mean, where do you find those investments? That money.
Well, I think he ran off quite a few. when you dropped
Okay,
off.
so they're already out there. I just need to go back and find them.
Yeah.
All right.
So it'll be on that video, Mitch.
Okay. All right.
So we got about 10 minutes left. I want to see if anybody else has any questions that you'd like to pose.
Hey guys, this is Lisa. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just had a brainstorm. I think I mentioned this before. There is a Bay Area nonprofit coalition that was just developed, Ascend Blow, ASCEND, and BLO, Black Leadership Organizations or something like that, and it's on Google. In the future, it would be interesting if we could, and it's comprised of foundations that support a lot of the nonprofits in the San Francisco Bay Area. It would be interesting to poll the foundations to identify which ones actually, in California, to identify which ones are actually currently funding the cooperative. So that would be something easy that we could do some research on in the future. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and I can let you know from experience that the San Francisco Foundation has been funding cooperatives this year, and they are kind of doubling down on their efforts for 2020. So they'll be releasing the application early next year in January about. Also, the California Wellness Foundation has a specific track where they seek out worker cooperatives to fund.
And what about East Oakland?
We haven't been able to track this funder, but Catholic Campaign for Human Development, CCCD, or CCHD, I'm sorry. They, it's, almost 6:30. They are very interested in funding co-ops in communities of color, and more interested in incubating a worker-led enterprise. So the Law Center is more of a technical provider, so we're kind of one level outside of that circle of projects that they want to fund. But if you're interested in incubating or are involved with people that are starting one, or you are one of those worker owners, then CHD, they, co-ops have a long history of partnering with faith-based institutions, and CCHD is very aware of co-ops, and I think they're just waiting for the right project to fund, and they have a good amount of money to put towards that. So that's one.
I love that idea of the incubator. That would be something cool to explore in the future and talk about too. And you said it's CCHD?
That's right, Catholic Campaign for Human Development. They're very interested in East Bay projects, so that I think could be a good contact.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. I'm looking to observe some cooperatives while I'm in the Bay Area, so places to volunteer or work, or maybe go to a cooperative meeting and see how it's run. Are there any opportunities in the Bay for that? And then also, I'm also looking for a step-by-step start to finish of how to start a cooperative, just like the first steps. So those are my questions.
Do you want to?
I'll take a crack at the first one, and then you can. So Arizmendi Association, they tend to run a regular series of trainings for their worker owners, and I would suggest emailing any one of the bakeries. Are you based in the Bay Area, it sounds like?
I'm in Walnut Creek.
Okay, yeah. So Arizmendi, I'm trying to think of the closest bakery to you, but there's a number, and definitely in Oakland and Berkeley, and so pick one, and then you could email them to request being included in their next training series. So they don't, publicly post this on their website, but those trainings are, they let others join in on those trainings. It's more of just on a request, case-by-case request basis. So that would be the best one that I can think of. Each bakery operates semi-independently, but the network shares their training materials. So if one doesn't get back to you, you can try a different one. There's in Arizmendi Lakeshore, which is the closest one to our office here in Oakland. There's also one in Emeryville, and Cheese Board in Berkeley is also a part of the Arizmendi Association.
Also, there's the network of Bay Area worker cooperatives called NOBAWC, so NOBAWC. If you go to their website, you'll see a list of like many of the co-ops that are in the Bay Area, and then that'll be a good place to figure out who you want to talk to and yeah, just get their contact info and see if they'll have you. To your second question, there's a Think Outside the Box manual that we think does a pretty good job of like walking you through all of the steps. So I'll post the link inside of this chat so you can grab it real quick. And yeah, hopefully that answers many, if not all, of the questions you're seeking.
Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Hey, this is Lisa. Wanda, you mentioned a book a while ago to me. I can't remember the name of it, but you thought that was an excellent book.
Well, it was called Collective Challenge.
So that might be helpful to some of us on the line too.
Yes, that would be very helpful. And Greg, actually, he knows a lot about the book. I mean, I've only read certain parts of it, but both him and Galen have read the entire book. And this book, Collective Courage. Collective Courage. It's really good from an African-American perspective, where the author, who will be joining this conversation, you guys, possibly in February, gives a very great historical account of cooperatives in the African-American experience. So I would highly recommend that book. Also, as far as seeking funding is concerned, you may want to check out Kiva, KIVA.org. They provide loans to businesses, and it's a very unique way where people actually will donate towards that loan. And so if you get people to donate towards that loan, then you don't have to pay it back. It's actually, it's really an interesting concept. So check out Kiva, KIVA.org, along with Working Solutions. So that's one online possibility, one online funding platform that you definitely can use to start up your co-op.
Thank you, Wanda. And so we're down to about 3 minutes now, and I put back on the screen the upcoming in-person workshops that are scheduled. I just took it away, huh? And so the next one will be on November 30th at Village Connect in San Leandro from 9 to 4. And then the last one of this particular series is going to happen on Saturday, January 25th, 2020, to start out the new year. The location is to be determined. We are talking to our friends down in South Bay, Lisa Riley and folks. So perhaps
San Jose.
we will be finding our way to San Jose. And then also just to kind of give you again, keep you abreast of the online cyber process on Tuesday, November 12th. We're going to be doing an introduction, so we'll be cultivating a cooperative mindset and spending some time on that, choosing the right model. That'll be from 5:30 to 7:30. Then on Tuesday, December 3rd, we will be covering governance, and Tuesday, January 14th, we'll be wrapping up this particular series on tax and finance. So again, you have Greg's information in the chat room. Please capture it before you take off. And we will be keeping you informed and put you on our mailing list so that you will get all the notifications as we move forward. We have a thing at Village Connect called VC Closing. And normally it's something it's an excellent practice when we're in person and we're together. But for this one, I just would like to challenge all of us. If you can just throw out a positive or powerful statement, just make a powerful, positive statement before you get off the line and say goodnight.
I am enthusiastic and inspired with this effort. I'm
excited.
I am determined.
We are in the movement. We are the movement.
Changing me to we.
Oh, like it,
I
like
like
it,
that.
like it.
That's a good one.
Anybody else before we sign off?
Mine's always keep moving forward. So
Keep moving
I always think
forward.
that's a good one.
Well, I'm gonna throw out a corny word. Love, love, love. It's what the net world needs. So thank you everybody for showing up and be a part of this powerful conversation. Our aim is to connect the world and connect with each other so that Amazon doesn't take all our money. And we take care of each other. So on that note, good night, everybody, and be safe.
All right, thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Galen, send out the recording too when you guys finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Talk
Thank
to
you.
you soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.